Yeah, cool. Hey, what's up, guys? David and Allah, how you guys doing?
What's
You know,
up?
welcome to
So
the
man,
very first GY Fitness YouTube live. Where we talk about everything that's related to fitness, health, and wellness. And sometimes we don't talk about anything that's related to fitness, health, and wellness, and we just chit chat, right?
Yep.
So, welcome, you guys. Thank you guys for joining. So we got David from Nebraska, and Allah from the Big Island. Is it okay if I say Big Island, Allah? Is that
yeah,
is that
yeah,
cool?
we got,
Okay,
yeah,
just want to make sure.
yeah, you good.
And I'm on Oahu. The wonderful thing about technology is that we can connect right with our friends and families from far away. And so like I'm really really happy to be able to see both of these guys because we've been on this whole bodybuilding and fitness journey together for quite some time now. And with COVID-19 impacting things all over the world, it's really really wonderful, amazing, and great that we can connect like this. It kind of keeps us grounded and keeps us from not going too crazy, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
So we got, like I said earlier, we have IFBB Pro, David Robinson, and we have NPC competitor, Allah Ablao. Did I say your last
Soon
name
to
correct?
be IFBB Pro. Let's just disclaim that soon to be. That's
yeah,
Yeah,
we get there.
definitely.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
working, we working.
working.
Yeah,
yeah, soon to be. Yeah, and one of the things that I wanted to talk about, maybe this is a good segue into it because I was actually talking a little bit about it earlier, is COVID-19, right? And how has COVID-19 impacted us in the different areas where we live, where we train, where we do business and whatever. Um, and it's different, right? I mean, when you think about it, it's not the same everywhere. I mean, there's some places in the United States where you don't have to wear a mask, and then there's some places where you have to, and there's some places where everything's opened up, and there's some places that's on restriction. So there's it's just different wherever you go, right? So I kind of wanted to talk about that as our first agenda item, but before we get into that, let me just jump into something real quick. So GY Fitness brought in a bunch of different accessories. I don't know if you guys saw it yet, but we have like ankle straps. So these are for the women. So these are when you want to hook up to the cable, and when you want to do like I don't know what you call those kickbacks and
kickbacks.
work the glutes or whatever, right? So we got this in, and then it has the GY Fitness logo on it. And then we also have we call this the bench blaster. So it's like a Allah. Maybe you guys can use this, or even you, Dave. So it's like a sleeve, right? So you put it on, it assists your bench presses. You
Oh
know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
arms in here, right?
Mhm.
So
Yep.
we actually connected with Mark Hole, and he's the owner operator of the Hidden Lotus, and he's a power lifter, right? So he actually demonstrated this, and we're gonna have a full video up, in the next couple of days of him actually bench pressing with this on,
Nice.
and it actually helps you. The way he explained it was that it helps you to get over the fear of the weight, and it actually helps you increase your bench press. He said that you can't use it every day, right? I mean, but you do use it once in a while just so that you can get over that fear and that over that hump of where you're kind of stuck at, and it's
Mm.
going to improve your benches. So we have a full video up in a couple of days, and then we also have knee and sleeve wraps that we just brought in. So these are like you put it on your arms, put it on your knees, and it's all Velcro, and then you just
Nice.
make it tight, right? So
Yeah.
we just got this in, and then we also have wrist wraps. So Allah and Dave, I know you guys lift heavy ass weight, and so maybe you want to protect the guy's wrist, right? So we got these. It's 14 inches, and you just wrap it around your wrist, make it really
Yeah.
tight so you get more stabilization,
Yeah.
and then you got the GY logo on there.
Yeah.
All this is available on the GY Fitness website. It's www.gyfitness.org. We actually have the wrist wraps up, but we're still working on getting the other accessories because, as you guys know, it takes time just to build this on the back end, right? So
Right.
hopefully we can get this up and running within the week, and
Mm.
then have it available to everybody. All right. Also, just real quick, the our GY Fitness YouTube channel is new, and we actually posted a whole bunch of videos. For those of you out there who haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. Definitely want you guys to comment, because we're looking for feedback, right? Let us know what we can do to make the channel better for you. Give us feedback on the content that we're posting, and then also don't forget to click on the bell. And basically what that bell does, it actually tells you when we drop new videos. And so I don't know if you guys saw, Dave and Ala, but the latest video that we posted was my nightmare experience, going to get my blood drawn at a lab. And it just the lab technician was new, right? And he had a hard time finding my vein, and I got stuck a couple of times. And so that was I thought that I would share that, right? Just because some of the things that you have to go through.
Yeah.
But I did get my lab work done, and here's proof of it. So I got my lab work done, and I do it every 3 times out of the year. And I'm monitoring a couple of things. Obviously I'm monitoring like my liver enzymes, my liver function, right, kidney function. I'm monitoring my cholesterol levels because it's been high previously, but it actually went down, which is good. And monitor my vitamin D level. For some reason, I'm on vitamin D supplements, but I just can't get it up high enough where I want it to be. And when I talked to my life physician, he said that having low vitamin D actually makes me more susceptible to COVID-19, right? So I'm trying to get that higher, but been struggling a little bit. So we'll see what happens. I'll just continue, doing what we have to do, and hopefully my next blood test is better. But kind of going off on a tangent now. But yeah, don't forget, get you guys lab work done, guys. All right, so I can talk forever. All right, so let's talk about COVID-19, man. And then Dave, why don't you kick it off? I know you're over at Nebraska, and things on the mainland is I know that the positive rates have, I don't know if it's stabilized there, but I've been seeing on the news that it's a little harder to control, right? So why don't you just talk a little bit about what's happening up there?
Yeah, no, it's all over the place on the mainland. Here in Nebraska, it's I wouldn't say it's easing up, because you kind of want to use that word carefully, but it's becoming under control. I think the Nebraska state vaccination rate is a little above 50% for the state, which is pretty good. So a lot of things are starting to ease up. We still have to wear masks. It's no real mandate, but we still have to wear them. Gatherings and places like that. Gyms are starting to open back up. I was always pretty thankful that my gym never closed. So I never really had that issue with no gym, but gyms are starting to open back up. Schools are back in person for the most part. I know my daughter's going back to school, so I think that's pretty much for the whole state. And I mean, it's starting to ease up, but for a while it was just like every place else. It was everything was shut down, and everybody was kind of I know we teleworked for 3 to 4 months, something like that, you consistently, and then we were on like a rotation, week on, week off kind of thing. And so now we're fully integrated back into the building. So it's starting to ease up, but I mean, it definitely hit us. It definitely hit us hard. Businesses were closing, and people losing their jobs, and it was tough. It's still tough. But I think Nebraska and the country as a whole is resilient, and I think we're going to get over it just fine in due time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Dave, you talked about it a little bit earlier, but you got vaccinated, right? And
yeah,
fully. When did you get that done?
I got my first shot February 13th or 14th, some like mid-February, and then the second one was around the end of February, 2 or 3 weeks later, something like that. But it's one of those things. I myself was kind of back and forth about it. And working at Stratcom, US Stratcom over here in Nebraska, it's not mandatory, but it's highly encouraged. And so I did my own research, and I kind of taught myself what type of vaccine it was, and it differed greatly from like the flu vaccine and things like that. So I kind of did some homework and taught myself a little bit about it. And at the end of the day, I got COVID-19 back in September, and I beat it on my own. I had antibodies far past the little 3 months that they were talking about. I would get antibodies tests here at Baker's frequently. And when I got my shot, I still had antibodies from when I recovered from COVID-19. So I just figured if I still had some antibodies and, get this vaccine that's going to kind of trigger my body to create more antibodies, because that's essentially what it is. It's not a live virus. It's an RNA sequence that allows, or that kind of triggers your body to create antibodies for a sickness. And so with my antibodies and with this shot, I just get some more protection. It made me feel like crap. It does make you feel like you have COVID-19 when you get it for about a day. And, it is what it is. And I got it and I feel great now. And I'm back to squatting hundreds of pounds and I'm benching hundreds of pounds. So I'm good. I got no complaints about it. Yeah.
You got your taste and your smell back and all that stuff.
Yeah. But it was gone for a while. It's pretty scary, but I beat it on my own, but everybody's not that lucky. A lot of, and I know we'll talk about this a little bit more later on, but my second oldest sister passed due to complications with COVID. I want to say it's been about 2 months now. So it's a very real disease and a very real sickness, and people like me that can beat it no problem. In fact, everybody in my house got it. Me, my wife, my oldest daughter, we all got it. We all beat it no problem. But there are people that can't beat it, and they need a little help. And that vaccine, I think, can help the people that aren't strong enough to fight it themselves. And that's kind of what I think about when I think about, whether I should get the vaccine or not. And I got it, and we're all good. Yep.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Nice. Yeah. Sorry about your sister, dude. I didn't know about that.
Man.
I keep it under wraps. I keep it. Yeah. We're good. I appreciate it.
Just like your body, you're always covering up with your hoodie.
It's a low carb day, so I feel a little flat. So.
Right. So Ala, how's things on the Big Island? Any major changes or?
As far as life here on the Big Island, I mean, every place has their own kind of weird thing going on. The Big Island, as far as COVID is concerned, not that bad actually. We still are, required to wear masks around, social distancing and gatherings and all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, everything's pretty chill over here. We've seen a spike in COVID as of lately because obviously tourism is back up. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot more tourists, people traveling to the islands, especially the Big Island, because flights are cheap. And because of that, we've seen a small spike in COVID as far as that is concerned. But other than that, everything's fine. When COVID hit, just around this time last year, when everything shut down, it was, for me personally, I think it was one of the best things that could have happened for me. And how I can relate this to like bodybuilding, because the gyms closed down, everything closed down. I was fortunate enough to find one of my uncles has a private gym, so it allowed me to train like super like heavy and hard, a lot better. So in that case, when the lockdown happened, I focused on myself a lot more, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, I remember. It kind of puts you back to like a Metroflex gym, right? Kind of setting.
Yeah,
where
yeah.
Like it's just like grungy, kind of just hardcore training. And I think you're training with Angel's dad, right? Or Angel.
Yeah.
Angel Tevin's dad. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
Angel Tevin's dad. Her dad's name is Kevin. So he was the one that allowed me to train at his place when COVID hit. So that was cool. And then when the gyms opened back up, everyone was like, "Oh, Allah." Usually, like, because no one was training, everyone was trying to do like these home workouts, and you see people like working out with gallon jugs and shit like that. When the gyms opened back up, they're like, "Oh, Allah, you didn't skip a beat." And like, I was fortunate enough to get a gym, so it's kind of cool to see that.
Yeah, I was doing leg presses with my couch.
Oh shit. But yeah, so going back to the COVID thing, everything's fine. I personally, I didn't take the shots. I didn't get them. I haven't even taken a flu shot since over 10 years now. So, and that's just my personal preference. If If I don't need it, I'm not gonna get it. So
Yeah.
kind of,
Yeah.
I hear like all these, like the stories of some people are okay after the first and second shot. Some people get super sick and all these kinds of things. I don't know. It's just for me, I chose not to, just because like if I never needed a flu shot, why do I need a COVID shot? That's just me though. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everybody. I mean, it's like David said earlier, it's personal preference, right? So
Mhm.
some folks feel like they need it, some folks feel like they don't. I mean, I've heard stories left and right about people who got it, and
Mhm.
you know, I've heard stories left and right about people who didn't get it and the reasons why. And so it's like, you can kind of weigh, your opinions either way, right? And no opinion is wrong. I mean, everybody has the right to their own opinion of whether or not they want to get it.
Yeah.
I actually signed up to get mine 2 weeks ago on a Thursday, and because they were offering it, to all the employees where I work at, and it was the Johnson & Johnson shot, and this was before that news hit, right, about all the women getting sick and one of them dying from the J&J shot,
Mm.
and so I signed up for it, and I was gonna go get it, and went on Wednesday, the day before I was scheduled to go get my vaccine. I called my life physician, right, and this is the guy that I do the lab work for, and he, we evaluate everything for me as far as health goes. And I'm not going to mention names, but I asked him, I said, hey, did you get the vaccine shot and would you take it? And he told me no. And I'm like, wow, you're a physician and you're telling me no. I said, tell me your reasoning why. And he said that he just doesn't feel like there's enough study yet and not enough literature yet for him to go get it. But he said that, it is your personal preference. He's just giving his opinion, right? And so, he did tell me though that because my vitamin D level is low, that I am, a higher risk for COVID. So, whether or not I get the vaccine, it's up to me. He did say that he thought that, getting the Pfizer was probably the best one, probably because Pfizer's been out there, I guess, longer.
Mm.
But, going back to what David mentioned earlier about that whole RNA stuff, right? I talked to a friend of mine and he said that he would rather get the J&J because with the RNA, it doesn't bind to every single cell versus like the Moderna and the Pfizer, which could cause like autoimmune disorders in the future, possibly, right?
Mm.
So he's a therapist, and he said he was doing his study just like David did, and he said, "Oh, I would go get the J&J." And I said, "What?" I said, "You get the J&J? Didn't they put it off the shelf for a little bit?" He goes, "No, it doesn't matter. It's just the way that the RNA binds to the receptors." He just thought that the J&J was actually better because it was more selective versus having the receptors with the other shots bind to everything. And I don't know the science behind it. I'm just listening from like outside sources, right? So I haven't done any studying or whatever. So, don't take what I'm saying like, verbatim or whatever, because, I'm definitely not the expert on that. But I think, yeah, like you guys both said, I think it's personal preference, right? And I think that, I agree with David that the vaccination adds that extra layer of security and safety, right? And we're already being safe and cautious. We're wearing masks, we're washing our hands, we're social distancing. I think if you do like universal precautions, right? I think and you get the vaccine, then I think you're highly protected at that point. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, like you guys said, it's really personal preference, right?
Yeah.
Mhm. Um, on Oahu, I don't think that our mayor is gonna like shut anything down and move us to a different tier. So I think we're okay.
Mm.
There's been some positivity rates, some, I want to call it spikes. We're still under 100, right? I mean, if you look specifically just on Oahu, but when you add up the other guys, then maybe we go over. But things are still open. Gyms are open. They do limit how many people can come in. Like I know Powerhouse is open, but they do limit like the amount of time that they stay open to. They're not 24 hours, 7 days a week anymore.
Mm.
Same thing with 24. Yeah. So 24 is not 24,
Yeah,
but you still get charged the entire monthly fee, right?
they got to change the name.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
That changed it to almost 24. So but yes, I mean, not much different. I think more tourists, like Allah was saying, are coming to the islands, right? And I know the hotels have, they dropped their rates too, so it's allowing more and more people to come. So because people now can afford a trip to Hawaii, right? Versus before, nobody came because it's just too freaking expensive.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see that when you take a walk in Waikiki. I mean, there's a bunch of people there, which is good for the economy. But I don't know if that's really stimulating the economy because the hotels drastically reduced their prices, right?
Right.
It's just adding more people to the island.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you kind of got to weigh things out, but yeah. So that's kind of where we're at with things on Oahu. Yeah. So let's pivot from COVID. I think we blasted down to the max already. Let's talk about something more exciting. More exciting than COVID, right? So David and Allah, I know you guys lift heavy ass weight, and I gotta ask you guys. So David, let me ask you first. How do you tell us the mindset, right, and the theory behind hitting heavy weight and just getting big?
So for me, it's So I've had the luxury of training with a lot of powerlifters, right? And they taught me, forms and different bench techniques and squat techniques and things like that. So I like to take a lot of the things that I learned from those guys, but incorporate that style of lifting into more of a bodybuilding type of regimen. So where I'll do heavy ass weight, but not only 3-4 reps, we're talking 12, 15 reps, things like that. So, things that kind of help me grow. But if it's one thing that I've learned in the last year, and I say that sincerely, I've learned in the last year that it's more about food. When you're trying to grow, you can lift heavy ass weights all you want. Because I've met some 120-pound 20-year-olds that'll outlift me any day of the week, but they're not near my size. So to gain size needed for bodybuilding, it's really about the food that you eat to help, to help that growth and build those muscles. And I really only learned that within the last year, if you can believe it. I've been a pro for 5 years, but I really, really, truly learned that in the last year. I don't know if I've spoke of it, but I did my last show December of 2019, and I weighed in at 185 pounds for that show. And within the last year, I got up to 247 pounds was my highest weight. And that's solely because I started getting real serious with eating to help me grow, and not just lifting heavy and kind of eating things like that. I was eating like a madman. So it is heavy lifting that does help you to grow, but it's really, really, really about the food that you eat to replenish the muscle and help you to grow. And
how do you put down that much food, David? Bruh, like, because I get so sick of eating.
Yeah. I'm telling you, you ask anybody that I work with, I'm eating 8-9 ounces of like chicken and things like that, steak and all this stuff. So I literally now I just put the food in my mouth. I chew like 6 or 7 times and I swallow with water. I don't enjoy anything I eat anymore. I don't season it. I don't try to dress it up. To me, it's just I'm just chewing it up. And you'd be surprised how much food you can get down doing it like that. Literally chewing 5-6 times just to get it kind of mushed up and with water. I'll walk away from a meal. My belly's full of food and water, but that's the only way that I can get it down. And interestingly enough, within the hour, I'm freaking starving again. So I know that food down is ramping up that metabolism, and it all works together. But to answer your question, I swallow my food like Tylenol pills. That's how I get it down. Yeah.
It's that's actually a really good pointer, Dave. Is because a lot of folks don't know that digestion actually starts with your mouth, right? When you talk about the digestive process, everybody thinks digestion is just in the stomach,
right?
But actually, you start breaking down food like when you start chewing because of the acids, And so that's why growing up, your mom always told you, "Hey, make sure you chew your food, right?" You don't want to swallow big chunks of food and then then now you gotta now your digestive system, your stomach has to, work even harder to break it down, right? You can break everything down with your mouth, that's why we got teeth. That's why we gotta grind things down. So it's like a blender, right? And then swallowing it water. Yeah, I know it's hard, Allah. I know it's hard. I don't know how you guys do it, but
Yeah, man. David, my first prep I did with Greg, we did an off season prep, and we are like slowly adding calories every week. And bro, by like the 6th week or 7th week I was on, I was like, Greg, this is too much fucking food. I can't do it.
Crazy, right? It's crazy. But
I was like, I need to start prep.
Yeah, I'm almost willing to bet you'd get those meals in, you'd be super full, but within an hour or so you'd be ready to because it's the same for me. Like I'll eat a ton of food and I'll be full, can't eat another bite, but then my body is using it, and then within an hour or so I'm hungry again. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Hey Dave, we got a question from Francis. He's asking your food intake. Are you eating the same every day, or do you add more calories on high volume heavy days?
Oh man. So, and I'm sure Allah has an answer for this one too. I will say that I have the luxury of having a great coach. His name is Dominic Mustachio, and this dude, he sends me what I'm supposed to eat, and I eat it. But on my high carb days, we'll talk about the off season. On my off season training, I had high carb days for certain muscle groups, which was legs and back, and then my lower carb days were every other muscle group. And then so like leg and back days, I would eat crazy amounts of food. And then on the other muscles, chest, arms, things like that, it was still crazy amounts of food, but just not as much as the higher carb days where 900 grams of carbs, things like that. It wasn't that, so, but it's all huge amounts of food. It's just smaller amounts on the lower carb days with the smaller muscle groups than the higher carb days with the larger muscle groups.
Yeah, with Allah, actually, we kept his meals tight and big all week round. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we ever deviated, between his workouts, because I knew at Allah that every freaking workout he did was like powerlifting. Like every workout, arms, back, triceps, chest, legs, he always pushed to the limit. It wasn't like he was letting off the gas pedal on any day. So we kept his intake pretty high, and he was actually eating a bunch of stuff, and so that's probably why he felt like. And what did you get up to, Allah, on the off season? You got up pretty high, huh?
Yeah, the heaviest I got up that first time I got 220. I was up to 220.
Yeah,
and then we cut down after that. And then. Remind you, I'm 5'6", yeah, so that's a lot of
meat. That's a lot of meat
of meat to carry around a 5'6" frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and Allah competes at middleweight, right? So we had to get him down. And I think what we probably could do better the next round is I wanted Allah to kind of stay a little bit lighter, so that we didn't have to do like a mad dash to make weight at, I think it was 170, was it 174 or 176, Allah?
176 and a quarter, I think, is the cut. Yeah, the middle.
Right.
Ooh, that is rough. I was a middleweight, and fuck, that is rough. I know that weight cut was hard. I know it was, because I was a middleweight, and I only cut down from, I think 203 was my highest as a middleweight ever. So that's fucking tough. I know it. Man, that's tough. That's tough.
Tough. Yeah. Oh yeah, that picture right there popping up right now. Yeah, that's probably the tail end on my off season at 220.
Big boy.
Yeah, right on 220. Yeah. Man, I had a hard time breathing, just tired all the time.
Going up the stairs.
Dude, you know the feels, man. Yeah, even like getting out of your car to walk into your house, I'm like, I got to take a break.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. The good thing is that, Allah was able to keep his waistline nice and tight, so it's not like he got sloppy messy. I think the hard part for Allah was, the last 2 weeks, we had to actually drop almost, I think it was either 20 or 25 pounds in 2 weeks. And that was tough. And it was, we're doing everything that we had to do, and it was a lot of work on Allah's part too, right? With, cardio, and then, manipulating the food intake, and it was tough for him. And I think that put a lot of stress on his body too.
Right.
And, this is when Ala did the USA's last year in
Yeah.
Arizona. So I think what we need to do probably next time for him is just really just kind of stay tight. Try to put on the size, but stay within a reasonable range so that we don't have to like put so much stress on the body trying to get the weight down.
Mm.
And kind of see how it takes us from there.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. So Ala, Big Island boys.
Yeah.
I know you guys. I know you lift heavy too, and I've been watching your Instagram videos, and this kind of goes to David's point, right? About, I mean, you train with a bunch of gorillas, man, and I'm looking at the guys. Dave, you gotta check out this picture of all the Big Island guys. I don't know if you can find one, but not this video, but maybe you can find it. There's a picture of Ala with all his guys on IG, and I don't know where it is, or maybe Pacific Island Fitness. Try to pull them up. But
yeah, Pacific Island Fitness.
You gotta see, Dave. You gotta see these guys, man. It's like pull up that picture. Look at all these guys on the Big Island, dude.
Dude, that's intimidation right there, man. That's
yeah, those are animals, man. Got Noah and Damien and Sep and Francis. Those guys are all they're hammers, man. Damien and Sep is getting ready for shows as we speak. Quick shout out to Damien. He's doing a Contra Costa.
Okay.
That's in California.
Yeah.
He's the one standing up on the top on the left, right above me. Oh no, on the right. On the right. Yeah, standing up. Yeah, that's Damien. He's gonna do heavyweight, so open heavy. And then Sep is right above me to the left. He was so cool story behind him. He was men's physique first. He started off as men's physique.
Wow.
And I was coaching him. His first show was, I think it was like 2017 or 16, Ikaika Classic. And then he did another show, 2018, Ikaika Classic. And then it was all men's physique. And now he's doing the first show, hopefully this July, Ikaika, as a bodybuilder, because he put on the size, man. He put on the work.
Damn.
So, and then Francis on the far right, who's in this. Francis, what's up, man? He's an awesome guy. He competed in men's physique, classic. He did classic at the Stingray. I think it was 2018, Fran, if I'm correct. But yeah, you get that type of people in the gym. We're all getting after it. We're just gonna push each other till we can.
You got no choice.
Yeah, we're gonna pick each other up and we're gonna do it again. So
Yeah.
The camaraderie over here is nice, because we're all shooting for the same thing. So
yeah,
it's nice, man.
Yeah, it must be the water, man, because you guys are all big and huge. You guys got the lava rock water or something.
It's the poi. It's the poi.
It's the poi.
Oh yeah.
Mark Frias, yes, one of the boys. Oh, Mark won overall men's physique Stingray 2000 Stingray Classic 2000. What was it? 18, Mark. Yeah, men's physique.
Oh,
and he's here from Waimea. He lives in Waimea.
Nice.
So, yeah, we got some good guys around here.
White boys, Big Island boys.
and see, and you know what? That's what I was talking about earlier, Dave. It's like, and I was telling a bunch of folks about this too, is that, we got so much talent on the island, but nobody knows, right? Because there's no platform to showcase all the amazing talent that we have here. And I think what we need to do is maybe in a future live, we can get your guys on here all together. We can just all talk story too, because I like to get to know everybody, right? Mark and Francis and all the big guys on the Big Island, because I probably see them like here and there, but I probably don't sit down and chat with them like you and I do. So maybe perhaps we can get them on here too. But like I was telling Dave, is like there's a bunch of folks on on the islands that they have the talent, the capabilities, to compete and to really bring the heat to the mainland and to the national shows.
Yeah.
So I really like to be the one that, to showcase these guys. And it's a lot of freaking work, man. I mean, from eating to training and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Crazy. In 2011, I did my very first bodybuilding show in Hawaii, and I swear to God, man, I like on that day, and in every show I did up at after that, I just noticed Hawaii had so much talent. It was crazy because you didn't hear about them unless you competed in Hawaii, and I just thought that was all kinds of wrong. And I just think the talent over there is just ridiculous. I mean, I've met some of the best bodybuilders I've ever competed with over in Hawaii, and it's just I think, and this was like in like the Paradise Cup days, and I just really want Hawaii bodybuilding to blow up, because there's so much talent over there, so much talent. And when I say Hawaii, I mean across the islands, so much. I got nothing but respect for everybody. I mean, because I learned there. I became a bodybuilder over there. You know what I mean? Crazy good guys there.
Yeah. Hey, I want to pull up your video real quick, Dave. Then I'm gonna pull up yours all right after that. Let's pull up Dave's video of his shoulder press, and let's go ahead and play that video.
Dang, how much weight you got on that, dude?
I don't even know, Matt. We call that the Matt press. Shout out to my boy Matt over here. He goes to my gym, man. Crazy smart trainer, man. He's taught me a lot since I've been here in Nebraska. He taught me that pushing that chair up to that machine, because that machine is for like a stand-up shoulder press, or whatever you call it. And so he just kind of taught me this position here, and it's a crazy feel on your front delt and on the very, very top of your chest, actually. And it's a great movement. It's a great movement.
What did you sniff, Dave? I wanted to ask you that question. I saw you sniffing something before you started.
Oh yeah. Shout out my boy Britton. He's over here too, from my gym. And he put me on these smelling salts called it's like AHHHH.
Yeah.
I mean that's literally all it is, smelling salts, but it's crazy. Like your brain is cold and hot at the same time. It's crazy, but I feel like I can lift 1 million pounds after. So I kind of hit that every time I go, real heavy. I'm able to crank out a couple more reps. But yeah, it's just smelling salts.
There you go.
Yeah.
I never tried that. I mean, does it actually work?
It's like a powerlifting kind of thing, and I'm sure Allah has done it 1 million times as well. It's just it's like ammonia. You see people doing it, and it looks like they're getting all this crazy extra strength, but for me, it just opens up my nose. It allows me to breathe deeper, and I just get kind of amped up. But that's basically it.
Yeah, I use it too. I just recently used it for my I posted a video of me deadlifting in the gym. I think it was like 530 or whatever. And then the ammonia salts was from one of my dudes, Eric, out here in the Big Island. So the smelling salts was meant to wake people up when they're knocked out, right? So like you see like boxers or like MMA fighters back in the day, when they're knocked out, they would wave it in front of their nose, and then they would come back to life. Like, oh, what just happened? Well, you just take a sniff of this real quick, and then, like David said, man, you feel like you can lift 1 million pounds.
I mean, look at this video right here.
It just puts you in the zone real quick. It really like puts you in a tunnel vision. It's super focused. It's an adrenaline rush. I love that shit.
You got me wanting to go to the gym right now because of this video.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I think you caused an earthquake on Oahu when you put that down.
Right there.
Yeah, man. I always loved lifting heavy. Even as in teenage years, watching my dad work out in the gym or in the garage. They were getting after it, like old school type shit, like just lift heavy, lift hard, and just beat your ass up kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I was always known for that type of training, like go hard. And, the body will follow with that.
Yeah.
So the mind sets it first, lift heavy, lift hard, and the body will follow. It'll grow.
Yeah.
So,
There you go.
There you go.
Shout out to homie Josh right there spotting me on this. This was funny. I was actually just gonna do one. I told him, let's just get one. He was like, all right.
It was that slap on your back, bro. That's what did it.
Yeah.
That's what did it.
Slap city me real quick.
Slap city.
Yeah. And then I ended up doing 3, so that was pretty cool.
Crazy. And he's a middleweight. He's a middleweight, everybody.
Yeah.
Make sure y'all remember that. The middleweight. Crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Crazy lifts, man. You guys just keep doing what you guys doing, because you know, you guys are definitely doing the right stuff, and you guys are definitely gonna, you know, progress even more in the sport of bodybuilding. I wonder if you can sniff that salt before you get on stage, Allah or Dave, maybe next time. And then you know, and boost your confidence levels, right? And the judges are gonna. So
I could try.
Maybe try, yeah.
See what happens.
we have the Maui Ikaika Classic coming up next week, Saturday. So maybe we'll slip some to a couple of competitors and be like, hey, sniff this real quick.
Give this a try.
Yeah. We'll give it to the bikini girls and see what happens.
Yeah.
They'll be running across that stage, man.
Yeah. Okay. Let's pivot. Let's talk about something that's real, and I'm sure it has hit home, you know, for both of you guys. You know, let's talk about relationships and bodybuilding. And you know, it's always tough, right, when we prepare for shows, or even just living the bodybuilding lifestyle is hard, right? Because you're not the normal person anymore, right? Even though we have normal jobs, and even though we do normal things, like literally the lifestyle that we live is like, it's not normal, right? And you know, you as far as relationships go, it can be great, right? It can be bad, and it can get really ugly. So Dave, why don't you start us off? Why don't you talk about your experiences with, you know, bodybuilding and relationships?
She is.
Yeah.
So I mean I'm lucky. You guys know Ina, and for people that don't know Ina, she's also a competitor. She stepped away for a little while, but she's a very competitive competitor, and so it's easy for me because she knows the lifestyle. I mean, she does it. She understands it. She doesn't you know, offer to like go out to eat and things like that, you know, because she knows that we can't do that. She helps prep meals, and she keeps me on time with eating and things like that. So I'm one of the lucky ones that has somebody that fully understands the sport. A true story, Ina has been competing longer than me. A lot of people don't even know that. She's competing longer than I have. So she definitely knows the sport. She knows all the ins and outs, the sacrifices. You know, her parents come and visit us a lot, and her mom loves to feed me, and it's hard for me to tell her mom, you know, no, I can't eat certain things. So Ina will kind of help out there, and it's for me it's easy, but I'm one of probably few people that have it this easy. It's kind of easy for me because, again, she knows the life, she knows it, and she understands it.
Yeah. What about you, Allah?
Man, like David said, you just got to have the right partner to make it happen. If you go that route, bodybuilding, it becomes a point where you have to be selfish, right? It's all about you. The time you wake up, from the time you do your cardio, everything is about you. The grocery shopping, the tanning, the sleep time too, like all that stuff. And I think, like, if you don't have a partner, if you're not in a relationship where your other half can support that and understand that, like 100%, something bad is gonna happen. Some shit's gonna pop off, like why is my Tupperware dirty, or some shit like that, and then, or my food is gone because I'm hungry. Like, yeah, I think you have to have the right person. In David's case, he's super lucky, you know, he's very fortunate to have Ina, there with them, and she competes too, so she knows how to do it. And she's probably the same way too, as well. Well, I can support David in, because he's in prep right now. And in the same way, when she goes into prep, she expects the same thing from him.
Yeah, without question.
Yeah, so David knows exactly what to do, and it even comes down to the things like the conversations that you have, or the things that you read or even watch. It all comes down to that. So
yeah,
I think with relationships and bodybuilding, if you have a spouse that can fully understand the sport, you'll be successful. But you hear lots of times that people meet and they break up because of the sport of bodybuilding, and it just wasn't meant to be or something like that. It's just it's a tough thing. It's a tough thing to handle.
Yeah, it can be bad. Go
ahead.
No, I was just about to say it can just like Allah said, you can run into some really bad times if you don't have that right partner, because Allah said something a few minutes ago where bodybuilding it's a very selfish sport, and any competitor knows that it's selfish. You have to be selfish even when you don't want to be. You have to be selfish even when you don't know you're being selfish. And if you don't have someone that understands that, if they don't understand it, then they can't support it. And if they can't support something that you're doing, something that you're wholeheartedly passionate about, there's a ton of bodybuilders, and I know, Greg, you can relate. Bodybuilding is my life. It's my life. I'm married and my kids, my family, but after that, it's bodybuilding. There's nothing else before it. So if you don't have someone that understands what bodybuilding really means to you, and they don't understand that it's not just a hobby, and that it's not just something that you're doing for likes or that you're doing but it's something that is a part of you. If you don't have somebody that understands that, then they can't support you. And if they can't support you, like Alice said, 100%, then that shit won't work. It's gonna because that person's going to be taking a piece from you, a piece of who you are from you, and it won't work. It won't work. Somebody's gonna have to give, and somebody's gonna end up not happy, and it just won't work. So just like Alice said, you have to have someone that understands it 100% all the time. Mm-hmm. And it goes both ways, but it has to be that, or it won't work.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Let me tell you guys a quick story about a client that I trained, and I'm not going to mention names. And this is related to relationships and bodybuilding and stuff. And so I coached this guy for a show, and it was his first bodybuilding show. And he was really focused, driven, motivated. And even before I start coaching anybody, and if I know they're married or if they have a significant other, I actually like to meet with both of them, because I want to tell the significant other that this is what you're going to expect. He's not going to be around. You guys are not going to go to the movies. He's going to be at the gym all the time. He's going to be meal prepping. His focus is going to be on the show, right? And a lot of times they're okay with it. But, when you get 6 months into it, then things start pivoting, right? And they just can't understand it. But this guy did a show, really focused, really driven. I think the problem with this one was that his wife at the time was pregnant, right? And, 2 weeks before getting on stage, she gave birth. And he still wanted to do the show because he was 2 weeks out. He looked amazing. So he was actually juggling time at the hospital with the wife and the baby, prepping, posing, eating, training, trying to do everything, right? Went to the show. I asked him, where's your family? Nobody came. He was there by himself. Nobody came to watch him. Nobody came to support him. He won the whole freaking show, right? He won everything. And he calls me up about 2 weeks later. He says, my wife filed for divorce. Can you help me find a divorce lawyer? Right? So I'm like, okay. I'm like, shit. First, I'm helping this guy prep for a show, and I'm trying to help him find a divorce lawyer.
Oh, right? Shit.
So we're going through all this crap, right? And I'm trying to be supportive because, as a coach, you go beyond, right? What you do, because you you create relationships with your clients, right? And you want to make sure that they're okay. So we're going through this whole process, and it's ugly. You know, he's telling me what's going on, and I'm trying to give him advice, whatever, because I went through the same shit like 10 years ago, right, with a divorce. Going through everything, and then, you know, by just the luck of God, right, and God's blessing, they were able to fix things up, you know. And so they didn't go through with the divorce, and they gave it another chance, and everything was great. Now 6 months later, he calls me up. He tells me, "Hey, I want to do a national show." I'm like, are you out of your fucking mind? I'm not gonna coach you for no damn national show, you know. I was like, hell no. I don't want your wife to come and kill me. He goes,
Right.
no, it's okay. It's okay. I spoke to her and she's okay with it. I'm like, dude, I said, you bring your wife here, man. Let me talk to her, and I want to hear it from her.
Yeah.
So he brought her over and we talked, and she was supportive. So I said, listen, I said, if you guys start having problems, I'm out. Like, I'm done, you know, and you go find another coach, because I don't want to be a part of, you know, your misery, right? So he stayed focused. He actually did it, and he went to the show, got his pro card, you know, and that just goes to show you that, you know, this is real crap, right? You know, and like you guys both said, bodybuilding is a freaking selfish sport. And when you have that champion mindset and you want to be the best that you can be, everything else unfortunately becomes secondary.
Yeah.
Like, literally, right? Because you have a goal that you want to achieve, and there is nothing that's going to stop you from reaching that goal. And a lot of times, you know, your significant others, they just don't understand it, because nobody wants to be secondary to, you know, to anything, right? In a relationship, they always want to be primary, you know.
Right.
So, you know, it's David and you and Ina. It's a blessing, you know. I'm happy that I have Rose, because she understands the whole competition thing too. But, you know, we can never prep together, right? That's something that we can never do, because when we prep together, she eats all the freaking rice, and I have no rice to eat, and I gotta go cook rice, right? So after that experience in 2018, I told her we're never prepping together, because she eats all the freaking food, you know. So that pisses me off. Yeah, so, you know, it's real life stuff, right? And then, you know, I think another thing too is, you know, and this is personal experience, right? For me, it's not just with like your wife or your girlfriend or whatever, your boyfriend or your husband, but it's really around like the people that you love, right? And how bodybuilding can affect that too. So, you know, in 2014, in December of 2014, I was prepping for the USA's for 2015, because it was only like 7 months away. And I got a call from my brother, and my dad, he just had a massive heart attack and died, right, in 2014. And you know, there's a bunch of things that we were going through, and you know, we had to take care of dad, take care of his business, whatever, but I was still prepping. And I think my family couldn't understand, like, you just lost your father, but you're still going to the gym, right? You're still training, you're still doing this. And really, at that point, it wasn't, for me, it wasn't like, I don't think I even gave a shit about winning the show. I think that being focused and having like a schedule kept me sane, right? And it kept me from dwelling on the passing of my dad, and maybe potentially start drinking alcohol and doing party shit, right? So it even though I really didn't have the mindset, okay, I'm gonna go win the USA's in 2015, right? It just kept me on track, and it redirected my focus away from losing my dad, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, but the family didn't understand that. So that's another challenge, right?
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard for anybody that doesn't actively participate in the sport to understand certain things that we do. My sister passed. My oldest sister passed in 2015. I was prepping for USA's in 2015. She passed, and we went and buried her. And then eight weeks later was the show. I was 203 pounds after I came back. So I had 8 weeks to come down the middle with it. And everybody, you know, it was the same thing. It's like, how are you? And I remember being in the gym, and I remember I was training with one of my friends. His name is Derek out there in Las Vegas. Shout out to Derek. And I remember crying as I'm lifting. This freaking big guy in the gym crying as I'm doing, I think, shoulder press. And I distinctly remember it. But you know, I felt like she was kind of pushing me, you know, to finish. But other people kind of, I mean, they won't really understand why you're continuing to do something. You just lost a family member, things like that. But it's in our blood, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just what we do, right? And you know, I've just recently had 2 clients. You know, one's competing in a week, and the other one is getting ready for the Sean Ray Classics. And one of them just lost his mom, right, to like liver failure unexpectedly, right? And then the other one, you know, his brother got into an unfortunate moped accident, and it looks like he's probably not going to pull out of it, you know. And so it's tough, but you know, these guys know that bodybuilding is an outlet for us, right? And it's a way for us to kind of stay focused. I mean, it's not going to eliminate the grieving process, or it's not going to eliminate your emotions or feelings for the family member that you lost, but it actually helps with, you know, staying grounded, right? And you know, not kind of going over the edge, you know, because us bodybuilders, we are in a sense, we are crazy, right?
Yeah.
And we do crazy shit, you know.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing. Otherwise, you know, Allah wouldn't be freaking pushing 6 plates, right? And David, you wouldn't be freaking shoulder pressing 12 plates or whatever. You know, so you got to be a little crazy in what we do. Yeah. So you know, keep us guys grounded, you know. But let's kind of move from that. Let me ask you guys a question. So, David, what was your most memorable bodybuilding competition, and why? And same question for you, Allah. But David, let's go with you first.
As far as bodybuilding goes, it was kind of it's kind of 2 moments wrapped into one. I remember in 2015 I did USA's, and I placed second. Took to my boy Gabe. Shout out Gabe. He won that show. Gabe looked awesome. And you know, I placed second that show, and I remember I was upset. I was crying. I left my trophy backstage, and I went back and got it, you know, but I was devastated because I didn't win that show. I wanted to turn pro that show. And then, so that happened. And then, you know, I was eating crazy for a little while, and I got back on the horse, and then I started prepping for Miami. That was November of the following year, of 2015. And so I won that show. But I remember when I won it, I didn't cry. I didn't get emotional. It wasn't real. So, and it wasn't real for me until I was backstage with my sister, my brother, my other brother, my good friend Marcus. And that's when I kind of just like broke down backstage. It didn't hit me till like maybe 10, 15 minutes later. And it was, so I guess it was being so emotional with the loss, and then the win. It didn't hit me that I won and had turned pro until long after I think it should have. But it was a really, I remember Chris Aceto, who I eventually ended up working with for a year, a couple of years back. But I remember him coming backstage, and he congratulated me, and I thought he looked familiar, but I was so like foggy. I was so wrapped up in emotion. I remember shaking his hand, and I got it on video. I remember shaking his hand and saying thank you, but it didn't click that this was Chris Aceto and came to shake my hand. His client Sergio Oliva had won the overall that show, but I remember he came and found me, and I was so foggy. I remember saying thank you and shaking his hand and stuff. And then like a few minutes later, I'm like, was that really Chris Aceto? And then he was gone. He was like a ghost. So yeah, I guess it was you know, the culmination of both of those events, and then meeting Chris back there and realizing that I had finally made it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. I think Chris Aceto, after he shook your hand, he said, was that really David Robinson?
Yeah.
He's a little short to be Dave, you know.
All right, thanks, Dave. What about you, Allah?
I can kind of, looking back at all the bodybuilding competitions, there's always, you know, one thing that sticks out in every competition, like little moments here and there. But I think my most memorable bodybuilding competition has to be this past one that I just did. USA's 2020, my first national show. So really just getting my feet wet in the national circuit. Obviously you go to win, right? That's what we try to do. But the overall experience for that show was amazing. Like, I didn't see nothing bad about it. Everything is a learning experience for me. So, and being in that like level of competition really opened my eyes. Like, holy shit, this is what it is. Like, the middleweights look like light heavyweights. Like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, so it kind of it made me elevate my game even more as far as like that. So, and just the bright lights, the huge stage, the speakers on the side, and people, the backstage cameras, they're right in your face, like filming you as you walk up on stage. Like, all of that was so surreal to me, and that is what like I take out from that show, is that whole experience. They got like two big like screens on the side, and they're showing your routine, so people like way in the back can see you. Because in Hawaii we don't have that, right? So when you go to the national level, it's different up there. So different. Yeah. So USA's 2020, definitely my best show. Most memorable. Yeah. I think too, for that show, and like making it a little bit more personal, I got to go through peak week with my dad. So me and my dad went to Arizona, and we did peak week. And my dad was the one who was always bodybuilding. He was the one that bought home the muscle magazines. Remember the muscle mags back then? He would bring home the muscle magazines, cut them out, put them on the garage walls of all these bodybuilders, and he would train to, like that. He never did a bodybuilding competition. So to have him at the hotel with me and helping me prep my food and watch me go through this process, he says it was his dream come true to see me step on stage at a national level. But I think it's the opposite way around. It was my dream come true to have my dad with me and help me prep me during peak week for my first national show. So that's making it a little bit more personal. So
nice.
My dad is watching. He better be watching. USA 2020. Never gonna forget that one.
That's awesome, man. That's and that's the thing, right? Is that memories is gonna last forever, and you can look back at it and say that you were there with your dad, and that's something that you're gonna cherish for the rest of your life, Mm-hmm. And so was it your dad that was taking all of your check-in pictures?
Yeah. He was, same role. Call my dad. He would open up the windows, get the light in, and okay, check the pictures. Okay, and then he would help me cook my food. Run to the grocery store and grab more fish or whatever it had to be, and then just to have him there and go through that, because he's never went through peak week or anything like that when I was competing. I was always on my own by myself. They would come to the shows and just support me on stage, so he never seen me behind the scenes, like peak week, going through the shows and getting up early for cardio, fasted cardio, post-workout cardio. So I think that was really cool for him to see that and witness that. So, and then actually after the competition, to have him like eat a burger and fries with me, it's so stoked. He was so pumped. He was like, "You can eat this now." I was like, yeah. Bring that over here.
2 of
them. Yeah. It's awesome, man. Thanks, Alan.
Yeah.
So, hey, before we log off, I know we've been talking for a while now, but hey, Dave, what do you have coming up for you as far as shows go?
Yep. So we're back. We're back in the 212s. The whole time during COVID and everything, we just stayed in the gym, and when we got big, we left the classic trunks in the dresser drawer. We gave that up. We're going back to 212, and we're looking at Tampa. Tampa is a go. I'm being coached by my same coach, Dom, and Tampa. It's a go. August 6th. That's the return. We're doing it.
Nice.
And then just a little bit after that, we're going to Texas after that, and then we're going to Toronto after that. Because if I learned anything, is you can't really show up to 1 or 2 shows and try to qualify for the Olympia. You need to get out there. You need to get out there, have the judges continue to see you. So we're looking at Tampa, we're looking at Texas a week after that, and then we're looking at Toronto a week after that. I'm kind of quietly looking at Chicago. If we're ready, Chicago was before Tampa, so I've been talking to the coach, and if we're ready, we may slide into Chicago real quick. But Tampa, Texas, and Toronto is what we're doing.
Nice. Awesome.
Hell yeah, man. Good luck, dude. Go get that shit, bro.
Appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
I will be following. We'll be following Dave as he progresses through his journey, and we'll probably get you back on here, Dave, and then we'll talk to you when you're at peak week and see how talkative you are.
Face all sunken in the beard.
Yeah.
We'll follow you through your journey. Yeah. What about you, Ala? What you got planned?
Man, I think I'm taking this whole year off. I'm gonna take this whole year off. I think I've been competing for the last 3 years. I did 3 shows, right? In the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So this year my plans is to take this whole year off. Let my body rest and recover, and just let it grow. And then come back next year and just redo the circuit again. I'm gonna have to requalify, so we're gonna have to do a local show first, qualify, and then go for the national circuit again. So this year is definitely going to take this year off and then come back next year.
Cool. Yeah, it's always good to take a break. Let the body recover, like you said, and then come back better, stronger. Just don't let up the gas pedal though. You got to keep going, right? You got to stay consistent, motivated, focused.
So let me ask you a question real quick, because David said, as far as like the Olympia, right? You trying to get to the Olympia, you got to run that route consistently, right? Bang out all these shows. Would you say it's the same way for like an amateur, like in the national circuit?
No, I wouldn't say that at all, because I think it's a little. And I hope I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, but I think it's a little less political when you're trying to turn pro, competing in the NPC. I say that because I competed in all of my amateur shows were in Hawaii. I was nowhere mainland, right? And then I did my first national show when I moved from Hawaii to Las Vegas, and that was the USA's. I placed second, and then 6 months later, I turned pro in Miami. Nobody knew my name on the national circuit. Nobody, but I was just a better guy that night, So I think it's less politics in national level shows. At least that's how it was when I went through. And I think if you're the best guy, then you're the one that gets the card. When at the pro level, it really is about the judges seeing your face and seeing that you're going after Olympia qualifications and it's a little bit more of getting your name out there and letting the judges see you. I think it's a little bit more of that in the pro ranks. I could be wrong, but that's how it's seemed to me in the past 5 years I've been competing as a pro. I've only the largest number of shows I've ever done in any 1 year as a pro, I want to say, is 2. I've only done 2 shows, a max of 2 shows per year. I'm looking at doing 3 or 4, and I just want the judges to see me, Generation Iron, and you have to get your face out there. But I think on the pro level.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Cool. Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Yep. Okay, guys, let's how about we just wrap things up real quick, and for those of you guys who joined, thank you for joining our YouTube channel. This is our very first live with David, IFBB pro David Robinson, and NPC competitor Ala. And looking forward to having more discussions in the future. This is real talk. I mean, we don't try to filter anything. Definitely not here to offend anybody. So, I hope we didn't say anything that offended you. And if we did, we're not going to apologize about it, because everybody's, welcome to their own opinion, right? So, but definitely, leave your comments and suggestions behind. We definitely want to make this YouTube channel a platform for all athletes to get on here and to just chit chat and talk about real life stuff, and then we definitely want to focus on fitness and health and wellness, but we're also open to talking about other things as well. So don't forget to check out our website at www.gyfitness.org, and you guys can kind of check out the new accessories that we brought in. And David and Ala are both GY Fitness athletes, so hit them up if you guys need a discount code. They can tell you what it is, and you drop their discount codes in, and you guys can get the savings on the entire website. All right. So for David and for Ala, I am Greg with GY Fitness, and we will see all of you soon.
Okay,
Thanks, guys.